In this video, I sit down with award-winning recording and touring artist Rich Redmond. As the drumming powerhouse behind country superstar Jason Aldean, Rich has recorded on 19 #1 singles, selling well over 10 million units, and plays for over 2 million fans annually. When he's not on the road or in the studio with Jason, Rich can be found in the classrooms, music schools and at corporate events, delivering his powerful motivational seminars. He's extremely passionate about drum education, and that makes him the perfect person for our first ever Drum Ambition interview. So Rich,
good to see you, pal.
Welcome to Drum Ambition.
How you doing?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're my first interview on Drum Ambition, which is very fitting.
I'm always a guinea pig. It's great.
You're always my guinea pig. You did my first drum clinic here as well. So I appreciate your support over the years.
It's great. I love this place.
Thank you very much. So, aside from everything we heard in the intro sequence, one of the things that I really admire about you is your passion towards education. And as we know, Drum Ambition is an education platform. It's for beginner drummers. Mm-hmm. It's for beginner hobbyists. So a lot of the questions I want to ask you this morning are about how you started, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was a hobbyist because that would take some of the pressure off.
Absolutely. Well, one of the first questions I want to ask is, one thing I love to ask my students, whether it's in the teaching studio, whether it's a subscriber on Drum Ambition, is I love to find out what that moment was that got someone engaged in playing the drums. For me, I was 9 years old, I was listening to the radio, and I heard the song Kings of the Wild Frontier by Adam and the Ants.
Wow.
Do you know it?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not that song, but you know Adam Ant, right?
Yes, I know. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Yeah.
Well, this song had the most amazing double drum tom part, and I felt like somebody grabbed me by the collar and dragged me into the drum world right there.
That was his thing, yeah.
You know that song?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was the song that did it for me. And I knew I wanted to play the drums from that point. I didn't know I wanted to be a career drummer, but I knew from that moment that was for me. So I'm curious, what was the defining moment for you? The drummer or the song or the live performance that got you into drumming?
I just was like hitting everything. I'm like a type A, like crazy kid. And so I think my dad wanted to play the drums. So it was like, I was 7 or 8, and my dad said, "Do you want to take drum lessons?" Like a big sparkle in his eye. I was like,
so you didn't go to him and say, "I'd like to."
No, I was like, "Yeah, let's do that." So it's the weird, the way the universe works. He took me to a place called the Milford Percussion and Guitar Workshop in Milford, Connecticut, which is the home of the Subway sandwich. Subway is everywhere in the world now, but that was the first Subway sandwich. Little Milford history there for you. But anyways, yeah, so I started studying with a guy named Jack Berge, and he taught me how to hold the sticks, and I got myself a blue sparkle snare drum, and I learned the rudiments. We were working on the Joel Rothman books. This one book was called, it was like the Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll or the Rock and Roll Bible or something, and it was kind of like the Jim Chapin book, ding-da-ka-ding-got, but it was for straight eighths, and so all the combinations, ding-got, all the combinations you could do with the right hand with the rock beat. And then I was playing along with Kiss records and Queen records and doing the thing. And then I stopped for a while. I don't know. I was into Star Wars or something. I don't remember. And then we moved to El Paso, Texas. And, there's music education is big in Texas. So I rejoined the school band in the 5th grade. And I was already way ahead of the other kids because I had already had that training. And here's how you hold the sticks. Here's the rudiments. I knew how to read music. And so then, you're learning the glockenspiel and you're learning how to play the tambourine and crash cymbals and play the bass drum and timpani. And all that stuff was really, really killer. And then I knew I wanted to be a drummer, like a professional drummer, when Stuart Copeland hit with Synchronicity. It was like 1982, 1983. Martha Quinn was the VJ on MTV when they showed music videos. And then Alex Van Halen in 1984. So those were the two seminal records. It was like Synchronicity and then 1984. And then I discovered Carmine and his brother Vinny. And Vinny was playing with, who was Vinny playing? He was playing with Dio, Ronnie James Dio.
Yep.
How could you not like
Kings of Rock and Roll?
I mean, how could you not like Ronnie? I mean, it was like everything was just so epic. He'd just be singing about a bar of soap, and he'd have the glove, and there'd be dragons, and I was like, this is cool because I love Dungeons and Dragons too. I was playing Dungeons. I was a dungeon master, so this was great.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, you've just answered about 17 of my questions right there. But
that was it. Stuart was my guy. Alex was my guy.
No, that's
and
awesome.
And then you go back and you start learning about Gene Krupa and like Cozy Cole, and then the big band drummers and then I discovered this guy, a mutual friend of ours, Greg Bissonette, who was playing with David Lee Roth, and I had the vinyl record, and you start doing research like, this guy sounds really great, but oh my God, he also plays jazz. He played in the 1 O'Clock Lab Band at University of North Texas. What's that all about? And then I ended up going to school there. So it's kind of interesting, these influences come into your life, and then you seek these people out, and then before you know it, your colleagues,
Well, talking of influences, I want to take it back a little bit to Jack, first drum teacher.
Yeah.
What kind of an influence did he have on you generally? We did a clinic here with Thomas Lang last year, and Thomas will talk about his interaction with his teacher being life-changing. Mm-hmm. And I certainly had teachers like that too. And what were the early values that Jack instilled in you? Was it mostly rudimental? Did he start you off all rudimental, or did he start you off just playing beats and grooves?
I think Jack
was he more traditional?
Jack was smart in that he was like, all right, we're going to learn how to play doom, ga, ga, do, ga, doom, ga. Right?
First, right?
Money beat number 1, right? But also, zhat, bop, bop, zhat, bop, bop, zhat, da, 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 and you know how it's written out, so you're miles ahead. So you can take that zhat, bop, bop, and you can start adding the feet to it, and you're like, oh, wow, this opens up this whole... It might have been too early for me. Like, Jack was a fantastic teacher, but, I was just too restless. Like I said, I was into other things. And then when I moved to El Paso, Texas, I had a teacher named Jim Hargrove who worked with me. We had the big Dennis DeLucia marching sticks, and I was in the marching band for 4 years, and he really worked on my chop development and getting my open stroke roll to be machine gun. I call it my say hello to my little friend roll. That roll where everything has to be super, super open and even. And that's where I worked those thousands of hours to get that roll, and then the root and get your accents high and your taps low. So he was a drill sergeant, and then I had a teacher named Byron Mutnick in El Paso, Texas, who's still there, teaching to this day, and we worked on spang a lang, and playing all sorts of different things on the left hand against that, because he was a true jazz drummer. Also, a teacher, Ricky Malachi, who was also a wonderful jazz teacher, and so he had a different take on the spang a lang. And then I studied with a guy named Larry White at the University of Texas at El Paso. And we worked on my 4-mallet technique. We worked on my timpani. I had a teacher named Henry Vega. Henry Vega was incredible. And his thing was to also be a total percussionist. And then going into college.
Yeah.
Ed Soph at the University.
This is University of North Texas,
Ed Soph, Henry Oxtel, Ron Fink, Robert Chitroma, Mike Drake, these were all my teachers at the University of North Texas. And then for 5 years before that, I studied with a gentleman named Alan Shin at Texas Tech University. And Alan was also an amazing teacher who instilled in me, I know you're going to make a living playing the drum set. We know that, Rich. But while you're here in these 4 years that I have you at Texas Tech, I want you to do all these different... So I played music all day. So I was in the marching band. I was in the symphony orchestra. I was in the concert band. I was in the new music ensemble. I was in the steel drum ensemble. I played in my own bands on the weekends outside of school. And so just getting that experience, he was super encouraging and gave me that opportunity to play music all day long. And then somewhere around that, I had to do algebra and social studies and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. But it's great to hear. You've had a couple of teachers.
A lot of teachers. But they were all so encouraging.
And one of the things that we do at Drum Ambition, we take very seriously, is to say to people, and we say this all the time in our videos, we're an educational video platform.
Right.
Videos are a great way to learn music, but connecting with a teacher is so important. And we do our best to connect our subscribers with local teachers because it's so important. And hopefully, having just heard what you've said, it will encourage people to reach out to me a bit more and ask for some teacher referrals. I'm always happy to do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a huge amount of information. You covered most of my questions here.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I would love to have you. If I was a beginning drum student, I would love to have you as a coach and a mentor. And, YouTube is really interesting. People are like, I don't need a teacher. I have YouTube. The problem with YouTube is it opens up this whole rabbit hole. And so you type in beginning drum lessons, and before you know it, Mike Mangini is doing a double bass solo with 30-second notes. And there's no what's the transition? So with your system, there's a hardcore curriculum that's in place. And then people can sign up for one-on-one with you via Skype. This is fantastic. And I watched some of the videos. This is how you hold a stick. And then before you know it, you're on the drums. Next lesson. Bit, dit, bop, dit, bit. And then you're in Michael Jackson's band, right? Yeah. You're playing Thriller or Beat It.
Yep.
That's the beat.
Yep. Well, lots of information. Thank you. At this point, I'm going to enlist the help, Noel or anybody. Daniel there, could you grab a pair of drumsticks for me, please, off the set? And I want to ask you, while we're doing that, if you are ready
Yes.
for your 2 minutes with.
Oh, boy.
So this section here is just a little bit of fun. This is done in conjunction with our friends in England at MikeDolbear.com. You know Mike, right?
Yeah, I love Mike.
Hugely inspirational,
thank you.
educational maestro in England. MikeDolbear.com, Mike Dolbear Web Show. Check it out, really cool. One of the things I love to do is the thing that Mike does is the 2 minutes with. Really quick questions, quick question and answer, super quick, honest as possible.
All right.
We'll stay away from politics.
See, I don't do any politics or any of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, you ready for your
Got it.
2 minutes with? Here we go. Best song in the world to air drum to.
Boom.
That was my number one. What about number two?
So that would have been now. That's the same Phil from Phil Collins in the Air Tonight, and then a version of it is kind of like with the Kenny Aronoff, the Jack and Diane.
Right.
Equally charming.
What are these two? Doom, doom, ga. Doom, doom, ga.
Queen, Roger Taylor, lives in a castle.
Ching, 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 ching,
Neil
ching.
Peart. Why? Yeah. Why was he?
2 out of 2. Well, 3 out of 3. You got my first one. I was going to do, but everyone knows that. Iconic drum fill,
It is
right?
yeah.
Moving on then. Favorite recorded performance you played on?
I would probably say my kind of party record. It would be our seminal record. That's kind of like our Jagged Little Pill. You know, where like all the songs were like singles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Favorite live venue?
Hollywood Bowl.
Favorite city visited while on tour?
I can't spend enough time in Los Angeles or San Diego with the palm trees and tacos and beautiful women. Yes.
John Bonham or Keith Moon?
John Bonham.
Beatles or Stones?
Stones.
Excluding your drums, cymbals and pedals, one item of drum equipment you couldn't do without.
My Rich Redmond Active Grip 595 signature drumsticks available from ProMark globally.
Boom. And I wonder what your favourite educational drum book might be.
Syncopation for the Modern Drummer.
Not Fundamentals for Drumming for Kids by Rich Redmond.
I love the book. Hopefully you love it too, but Syncopation is a tome.
Favourite non-fiction book?
The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill.
Okay. Now, as an actor yourself, this is going to be a very hard question for you to answer, I'm sure. Favourite movie?
Alien, 1978, Ridley Scott.
Classic. I knew it would be a horror film.
Yeah.
Aliens, good sequel, one of the best.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you continually work on to improve your playing?
time.
Still?
Time, and for me, in Nashville, we're playing these songs that are, they're songs of the heartland, there's tales of the Americana, and a lot of the tempos seem to be between like 69 and 86, so it's super challenging to come up with new ways to play ka-pa-pa-doom or ba-ba-ba, because it's about the vocal, it's about the story. So how can I make this drum part interesting but still not get in the way?
Right.
So that's a constant challenge.
Cool. Couple more. Favourite drummer?
God.
Got to be one.
Gene Krupa.
Favourite rudiment?
Flam.
Favourite stick trick?
The fake twirl.
Second favourite stick trick?
That's so stupid.
Okay, this last question.
charming, it's
Last
charming.
question. We're going to wrap it up. Last question. This puts a little bit of pressure on me, I must say. So, I'm going to ask you a question. I have predicted what your answer is going to be. I've written it down on this card. I'm going to show the card as you answer the question.
It's a cool game show.
This is just a little bit of pressure on my part now.
Okay.
What is the best part of playing at the Sleep Train Amphitheatre in San Diego?
Post-show tacos.
Boom!
Yeah, the guy comes over from Tijuana. It's all freshly made. He's got the guacamole trick. He's throwing it over his back. Boom! Catches it. It's so good.
That made me so happy. And thank you, Stella, 10 years old, who did the taco picture for you
Those are great
in
tacos.
signature Drum Ambition colours as well.
And I like you used the taco little meme or whatever, the avatar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's a pleasure, as always.
Thank you, my
Thank
friend.
you so much.
Yes.
If you have any questions for Rich, I'd be happy to pass them on. You can email them to support@Drum Ambition. In the meantime, thank you for watching our video. Thank you for watching Drum Ambition.